Aspects have been the hardest thing to grasp logically for a lot of our students and probably for you too. But what if I told you that there's only 3 key things that are very simple that you have to keep in mind when thinking about aspects to avoid the majority of your mistakes when using aspects? First thing is we have to understand what aspects truly are and their differences. So let's take an action. I read a book. Perfective is going to be «Я прочитал книгу». Imperfective is going to be «Я читал книгу». What's the difference between these two? So perfective is when we only care about the outcome or the result of our action. We don't care about the process really. So in this one, «Я прочитал книгу», I read the book. We care about the outcome of my action. Imperfective, we only care about the process. We don't care about the outcome. So, я читал книгу, I was reading a book. We don't care if I read the book, 2 pages, 5 pages, we don't care about that. We care about the process. So here, in perfective, we care about the outcome or the result of my action. Here, in imperfective, we worry only about the process. It seems like a very little distinction, but it truly can make a big difference. For example, if I wanted to say, I was reading a book when you called, I would have said, я читал книгу, когда ты мне позвонил. Я читал книгу, I was reading a book, когда ты мне позвонил, when you called me. So here, I don't care about the outcome of me reading. I only care about the actual process. I want to set the stage. I want to explain what was happening, what I was doing. I don't care if I read the book, finished it, 2 pages. I don't care about that. The process itself matters. But if I take another example, я прочитал все книги Гарри Поттера. I read all the books of Harry Potter. Here, we do care about the outcome. That I've read them. I know what the books are about. I read them. That's the outcome of my actions. Here, we don't care about the process. Did it take me 2 years or 5 years? When did I read it? 2 months ago or 10 years ago? The process doesn't matter. Only the outcome of me reading matters. This first distinction will eliminate the majority of your mistakes and aspects, but this second rule will help you be more precise when talking about aspects. So, the second rule is that all imperfective or process sentences must leave a timeline or a time period of some sort. So, here's the timeline. And any imperfective sentence will look like this. So there's some sort of a timeline associated with the action. For example, if I said, I was reading a book in the morning. Я читал книгу утром. So we can clearly put it on the timeline. In the morning, I was reading a book somewhere during the morning time. It's our time context, time period. Same with the sentence that we already used. Я читал книгу, когда ты мне позвонил. I was reading a book when you called me. So you called me somewhere right here, let's say. And all before that, I was reading a book. So I can clearly draw it on the timeline of when that action happened, which will not happen with perfective sentences. So if I say about the Harry Potter books again, я прочитал все книги Гарри Поттера, I read all the Harry Potter books, I cannot put it on the timeline when that happened. Last year, yesterday, 2 months ago? How long did it take me? 2 years? 5 years? I cannot draw it on this timeline. It's impossible because the sentence doesn't give us that context. But in fact, we don't even care about the timeline when talking about perfective or the outcome aspect because we only care about the result. The action itself, how long it took us, when that happened, we don't care about it. That's the whole kind of nature of those 2 aspects. The one, we do focus on the process and the action itself, while the second one, we only care about the result or the outcome. So these 2 rules, if you can remember them, you will avoid maybe 90%, 95% of your aspect mistakes. But this third rule will simply put your mind at ease when thinking about aspects. And the rule is, Russian sentence logic is different from English sentence logic. Sometimes you might find yourself saying, this doesn't make sense. I wouldn't say it like that when you read a Russian sentence, because sometimes it just simply doesn't make sense to you because you've been dealing with your language logic for so long that adjusting the way you express yourself to something else is very different. But if you read a sentence that a native wrote and it doesn't make sense to you, accept it. Don't rebel, don't fight against it, accept it. And over time, the more you expose yourself to those sentences, the more sense it's going to make to you. And that's the whole purpose of just exposing yourself to the language, so you can see many examples of sentences and logic that's been used by natives. But now that you've learned the aspects theory, you are ready to take a practical approach to learning it with our Be Fluent class. Practice aspects, put it in the sentences, and see if you truly understood this theory or not. Join us right now.